All right, get ready for this deep dive.
Wait.
We're going into the Amazon rainforest
Deep into the Amazon.
with adventurer
Adventurer, yeah.
Xander Budnick.
That's right. He's,
He is attempting a 5-day solo survival challenge.
documented on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, he is not roughing it in style.
No, not at all.
This is bare bones.
This is as bare bones as it gets.
Deep in the Guyana rainforest.
Deep.
With some basic tools.
Basic tools.
Whoa.
A bow and 2 arrows, to be precise.
Camera gear.
Of course, gotta have the camera gear.
First aid kit, and that's it.
And that's it.
No food,
No.
no water,
No,
not even shelter.
no pre-built shelter.
He is relying on his skills
It's hiring
and whatever he can find.
whatever you can find in the jungle. It's
Yeah.
it's fascinating to see someone put their survival knowledge
To the
to the test in such a harsh environment.
Absolutely.
Right from the start, he is highlighting the dangers.
Oh, yeah.
Piranhas.
Yeah.
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Talk about pressure.
A lot of pressure.
So knowing he's got to tackle shelter, water, and food,
The essentials.
what's his first move?
Shelter.
Shelter.
He tackles it immediately.
Okay.
Because even in the dry season, the Amazon is known for downpours.
Right.
And you can't be caught out in the open.
Smart move.
Yeah.
But without any supplies.
Right.
How does he even begin to build a shelter?
Yeah, it's tough.
I'm picturing like a flimsy lean-to.
Well, he does choose a lean-to style,
Okay.
but it's far from flimsy.
Okay.
He uses live branches for strength and flexibility,
Okay.
which is something you would normally do
Right.
in a typical survival situation where
Right.
you'd go for the dead wood.
Why live branches in this case?
So it's partly because they're readily available,
Okay.
but it's more about adaptability,
Okay.
working with the rainforest environment, not against it.
Right.
Live branches, they're going to bend and move. They're more resilient.
So he's incorporating the rainforest's flexibility
Exactly.
into his design.
Into the structure.
Clever.
Yeah.
And I notice he spends a lot of time clearing debris
A lot of time.
around the shelter.
Yeah.
It seems like more than tidiness.
It's about insect control.
Okay.
That is a constant battle in the rainforest.
Makes sense.
By clearing the debris, you're reducing the
Yeah.
places where they can breed and hide.
Okay. So it's not just about comfort, it's about
little bit all.
survival.
Survival, yeah.
Every action has a purpose.
Exactly.
Now on to the next
Oh,
essential. Water.
water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did he find a reliable source?
He found a good water source.
Okay.
Pretty quickly, actually.
Good.
But he really stresses purification.
Right.
Even in a seemingly pristine stream.
Okay.
You have to purify.
Okay.
He uses iodine drops
Yeah, that makes sense.
to eliminate any bad stuff.
So we can't always judge water by its appearance.
Never.
And speaking of appearances, the river level changed so drastically overnight.
It was crazy.
Some of the downpours.
It was wild.
Yeah, that's the rainforest.
It is.
You are at the mercy of forces far greater than yourself.
You really are.
Humbling experience.
For sure.
Now I'm really curious about the food.
Yeah.
He went in with just coffee.
Just coffee.
5 days on coffee alone.
That's rough.
Recipe for some serious caffeine jitters.
And hunger pangs.
Hunger pangs, yeah.
Absolutely. But he's resourceful.
He is.
When it comes to foraging,
Okay.
he gets his food source
Okay.
from 2 types of palms.
All right.
Manicold palm and the Kukrate palm.
I'm guessing these are not your typical backyard palms.
No, not at all.
What makes them special?
So the Manicold palm,
Okay.
also known as the heart of palm,
Okay.
it's calorie dense
Okay.
powerhouse.
Right?
He harvests the heart,
Yeah.
which is this long white core
Okay.
found at the center of the tree.
Okay.
And it may not sound appetizing,
Right.
but he says it has a mild flavor.
Similar to cabbage or hearts of romaine.
So not a tropical food salad,
Not quite,
but it's edible.
but it is edible.
Okay, and what about the Kukrate palm?
So that one is a multitasker.
Okay,
Its leaves are excellent for shelter roofing and bedding.
so shelter and bedding in one,
2 for 1.
clever use of resources.
Very clever. But here's where it gets interesting.
Okay,
The Kukrate nuts.
Yeah.
They have a symbiotic relationship with beetles and grubs,
okay, symbiotic.
meaning they depend on each other
For survival.
for survival.
Right.
So the beetles, they lay their eggs in the nuts,
Okay.
and the grubs hatch
Okay.
and feed on the nut flesh,
Okay.
and those grubs become valuable fishing bait.
Wait, he's fishing in the Amazon?
He is.
I'm assuming he didn't pack a tackle box?
No tackle box.
How does he catch fish with limited gear?
resourcefulness.
Okay.
He creates a fishing rod
Okay.
called a yari-yari,
Okay.
uses a specific wood.
That he identifies by its lemony scent.
A lemony-scented fishing rod.
I know.
That's a new one.
The rainforest is full of surprises.
But it's not just the rod.
No, it's the process.
Okay.
It's a multi-step process.
Okay.
He starts by catching small fish with the grubs
Okay.
as bait.
With the grubs.
And then he uses those small fish to catch larger fish,
Wow.
working his way up
Okay.
the food chain
So what's the goal?
to catch a piranha.
Talk about ambitious,
Yeah,
but that sounds risky,
it is.
especially in piranha-infested waters.
You know the danger.
Didn't he express concerns about those?
He did, for sure.
Okay.
That's why he's so careful
Okay.
with his approach.
So how does he minimize the risk?
Well, he builds fish traps
Okay.
using natural materials.
To increase his chances,
Exactly.
but also minimize his time in the water.
Yes.
It's amazing how
Yeah.
he balances the risk and reward.
He does.
Constantly assessing, adapting.
For sure.
So he's got shelter, water, and a fishing strategy.
He's got a plan.
What's next?
Well, fire.
Fire.
Yeah, that's another essential.
But starting a fire in the damp rainforest
Oh, it's tough.
must be really difficult.
A major challenge.
I can imagine.
Everything's wet.
How does he even begin?
It's tricky.
Yeah.
He relies on finding dry tinder
Okay.
inside termite-ridden
Oh,
branches.
night-ridden branches.
Yeah, it's a gamble.
It is a gamble, for sure.
Relying on those insects.
To create dry pockets.
Exactly.
Wow, using every resource.
That's right.
I bet he was relieved when he got the flames going.
Oh, he's just so happy.
The fire provides warmth.
Yeah.
It dries his clothes.
Yeah.
It's a morale boost.
Big time.
Yeah, it's a victory.
A small victory, but a victory.
That reminds him.
It did.
His resilience.
And his ability to overcome obstacles.
It makes you appreciate how much we take fire for granted.
I know, right?
But with the fire going, he's
Yeah.
got the essentials,
He does.
at least for the moment.
At least for now.
So what happens next?
Well, remember those piranhas?
Yeah, the piranhas.
He's determined.
He wants to catch those.
He really does.
Yeah.
So his fishing strategy,
Yeah.
it takes a turn.
Okay.
He comes up with a night fishing technique.
Night fishing.
Night fishing?
In the Amazon.
In the Amazon.
That sounds even riskier
It does sound risky.
than fishing during the day.
Yeah, it does.
What's the plan?
So he uses a headlamp to spot the fish in the shallows.
Okay.
And then, get this,
Yeah.
he shoots them
Shoot some.
with an arrow
Okay.
that's attached to a fishing line.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
Archery and fishing combined.
I know, right?
That's next level.
Pretty ingenious.
It really is.
You got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Thinking outside the box.
They're sure that
adapting.
using what he's got.
Exactly.
Did this unique strategy pay off?
Well, not right away.
Ah.
He does face setbacks,
Okay.
but he talks about them
Okay.
with a sense of humor. Even with the best plans, nature has other ideas.
That's the thing about survival.
It is.
It's not just a skill.
It's
It's
right.
resilience.
It really is.
Bouncing back from disappointment.
Absolutely.
And speaking of resilience,
Yeah,
I gotta bring up that he's really focused on hygiene.
I know. I thought that was interesting.
Even in a survival situation,
Yeah.
he emphasizes bathing in the river,
Yeah, the river.
even with piranhas and stingrays.
Yeah, it seems a little counterintuitive.
Yeah, it does.
Well,
Bathing in piranha-infested waters doesn't sound too hygienic,
no, not really.
but what was his reasoning?
He sees it as a way to maintain normalcy,
Ah,
routine,
that makes sense.
which can be important,
Especially in a tough environment.
for sure, for your mental well-being.
Right, your mental health.
Plus, staying clean, it prevents infections
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
and skin irritations, which can be a real problem.
Especially in the jungle.
In the human jungle, absolutely.
So it's a physical and mental strategy.
It really is.
It's amazing how small acts of self-care make a difference.
They really can.
And while we're on the topic of unexpected encounters,
Right, unexpected encounters.
there is one that stood out.
Oh, yes.
Let me guess.
Okay.
A jaguar.
Not a jaguar,
Okay.
but close
All right.
in terms of size and danger.
Okay, go on.
A giant river otter.
A giant river otter.
Yeah.
Those are real.
They are,
Okay.
and they can be very aggressive.
If they feel threatened.
Yeah, if they feel threatened, for sure.
I bet that got his heart racing.
Oh, yeah.
What was his reaction?
At first, he thought it was a beaver.
A beaver.
Yeah, because of the size.
Okay.
But he quickly realized what it was
Okay.
and kept his distance.
A good move.
It's a good reminder to be Aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Respect the wildlife you're
Yeah.
sharing the space with.
It's easy to forget when you're focused on surviving
It is.
that you're not alone out there.
Right.
Nature's full of surprises.
Yeah.
And not always good ones.
That's the truth.
This brings us back to mental resilience,
Right, back to that.
which is a recurring theme.
It really is.
In his
It
experience,
comes up again and again.
he talks about finding contentment
Yeah.
in just being in the jungle,
I-
listening to the sounds,
Mm.
appreciating the environment.
It's almost like he finds peace.
Yeah, in the chaos.
That's a good way to put it.
Suggests a mindfulness,
Yes.
an acceptance. That's
Oh.
inspiring.
Very inspiring.
And remember, he's doing this on
Yep.
coffee alone.
On just coffee.
He does mention
Yeah, he does.
he's thinking about chocolate.
Chocolate all the time.
Well, who can blame him?
Right.
It's a universal comfort food.
Universal, yeah.
But it's amazing he stays so positive,
He does.
even with the hunger.
Yeah.
It speaks to his mental fortitude,
It really does.
finding joy
Yeah.
in the simple things.
Absolutely.
He focuses on what he has
That's a good point.
and the experience.
Yeah. The experience itself.
That's a powerful lesson
It is.
that we can apply to our own lives.
Definitely.
It's not always about what we're missing.
It's not.
It's about perspective,
It's about what we have.
gratitude.
Right.
So
So
we've talked about his skills,
we have.
his resourcefulness,
Mm-hmm.
but did he ever catch that piranha?
He did.
He
He
did.
did.
All right, tell me about it.
It was a moment of triumph.
Okay.
He was so excited.
Good.
He even describes the taste.
Okay.
He says it's delicate
Okay.
and the bones are easy to eat around.
That's good to know.
And later that night, he even catches a catfish.
So he went from struggling to feasting.
From famine to feast.
What stood out to you about his success?
It was the perseverance,
Yeah.
the adaptability,
Yeah, for sure.
refining his techniques,
Mm.
trying different bait,
Experimenting.
learning from the mistakes.
It's a reminder that failure is part of the process,
It is.
and it can lead to success.
It's a stepping stone.
But it's not just the practical skills.
No.
There's something deeper
There is.
about the human spirit,
Mhm.
thriving
Yes.
in adversity.
I agree.
His experience is a testament
It really is.
to our resilience, adaptability,
Yeah.
and ingenuity.
Our capacity to not just survive,
Yeah.
but to thrive.
And that makes you think,
It does.
could you take on a challenge like this?
Yeah.
What would you prioritize?
What skills, what knowledge?
Before going into the unknown?
It's a good question.
You know, Xander's approach to shelter,
Yeah.
his awareness of the dangers,
Mhm.
those are important.
Those could be life-saving.
For sure.
And his fishing techniques,
Yeah, so creative.
especially at night.
That bow and arrow
Yeah.
shows you have to adapt.
You do.
And his hygiene routine,
Yeah.
that's self-care.
Even in a survival situation.
Shows that it matters.
It does.
It's clear that this trip was
Mhm.
more than just surviving.
more than that.
It was self-discovery,
It-
resilience.
And human ingenuity.
It really was.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how does his 5-day challenge wrap up?
He spends that last night reflecting,
Okay.
and he leaves feeling empowered.
Not defeated.
Not at all.
That's good.
He talks about the challenges, the
Yeah.
rewards.
The highs and lows.
He feels accomplished.
I bet.
He really does.
So safe to say he embraced it all.
He did, even the tough parts.
It seems like it.
He expresses gratitude for the guides.
Good local guides.
Yeah, the ones who helped make it happen.
Right.
And he talks about the jungle's impact.
How it changed him.
Yeah, he learned skills, tested his limits.
Sounds like a journey.
It was a journey,
Almost like he went searching for something.
and found it.
Yeah, even if it wasn't what he expected.
That's a great way to put it.
He wanted a survival challenge.
He got that.
But he
A
found
deeper understanding.
himself.
The power of resilience.
It's all connected.
This whole thing shows the importance of resourcefulness.
Adaptability, yeah. And staying positive
Yeah, that mindset is key.
when things get tough.
It really is. It
Yeah.
makes you wonder,
Yeah.
would you take on a challenge like this?
That's a good question.
What would you prioritize
What skills would you need?
before heading into the unknown?
You know, Xander's shelter building,
Yeah, so important.
awareness of the dangers.
Life or death.
Those are crucial.
They are.
And those fishing techniques,
So creative.
especially at night with the bow and arrow,
Yeah, incredible.
shows you have to think outside the box.
You do.
And even his hygiene routine
Yeah, the self-care.
shows it matters.
Even when you're trying to survive,
Exactly.
it all ties in.
His trip was about so much more.
And just surviving.
It was self-discovery.
It was.
It was resilience.
It was.
And it was human ingenuity at its best.
Absolutely.
So as we navigate our own lives,
Yeah.
let's remember those lessons.
It's about resourcefulness, adaptability.
Keeping positive.
Never underestimate our own strength.
Beautifully said.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us
It's been a pleasure.
for this deep dive into the Amazon.
An incredible journey.
Until next time,
Until then,
keep exploring, keep learning.
keep adventuring.
Adventure awaits those who seek it.